Right now on Upfront.
Primary implosion.
It has become clear that there are issues that would be an ongoing distraction.
Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez dropping out. The Democratic primary for governor upended. David Crowley back in. The governor endorsing. And now the candidates with us reacting in real time.
Rodriguez just dropped out, so we want to...
23 days to go, absentee voting underway, an urgent scramble for votes.
I think all Wisconsinites deserve to have a voice in this race.
It is not fair to voters to be constantly doing whiplash like this.
This Sunday, what happened? The dropout, the new primary field, and the analysis. With us, the Democratic candidates, the new analysis, and the Marquette poll just days away. All ahead of our primetime debate right here.
This is Upfront with Jaron Jordan and political director Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. The Democratic primary for governor upended. Chaos just 23 days from the election and 9 days from our primetime primary debate.
Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez dropping out of the race Friday, just days after her campaign imploded over a major financial crisis. And now Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley is back in.
Wisconsin, you deserve a strong Democratic candidate. And that's exactly why I am re-entering this race to be the next Democratic governor.
Rejoining the race Saturday and with the endorsement of Democratic Governor Tony Evers.
And you know who understands that more than anybody? Governor Tony Evers. Governor Tony Evers understands what's required to run, to win, and govern in Wisconsin because he's already done it. The governor's endorsement reflects his confidence that I have the experience, that I have the judgment and the record to build the type of coalition that we need to defeat Tom Tiffany and lead effectively from the very first day in office. This race is not just about who can win the primary, y'all. This is about winning in November. Republicans are spending millions right now to prop up candidates they believe that they can beat. They've made their choice. Now it's time for Democrats. We need to make our choice.
Crowley with reporters.
I mean, I talked to the governor and he was willing to make the endorsement, and at the end of the day, we're going to continue to hit the ground as hard as possible. We know that it's not just going to take money to make sure we have the resources to focus on advertising, but also building the ground game needed.
Do you feel you have enough money to push to the finish line at this point?
We're going to continue to do fundraising. You know, we suspended our campaign. We had about 300,000, 315,000 cash on hand. But we're going to continue to fundraise, and we are building the momentum when it comes down to having enough resources to win this election.
Did Lieutenant Governor deceive you?
Listen, you'll have to talk to the governor, Lieutenant Governor, about what her campaign
But
is.
I'm asking about what she said to you
Listen,
about the $1 million ad.
What I will tell you is that, was I upset? Absolutely. Was I disappointed? Absolutely. And I had talked to the Lieutenant Governor, and I was still backing her until she decided to drop out of this race.
Rodriguez, who just a week ago was considered a top contender, firing her campaign manager for double counting potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in contributions, leaving the campaign with far less money than first thought.
As we have continued to dig into our financial reports, it has become clear that there are issues that would be an ongoing distraction, not just for this campaign, but for the primary and for Wisconsin. This race is too important to let that happen. I am deeply hurt and betrayed by what happened.
Hold on. Give me a second.
Okay.
We want to just kind of... All right. Rodriguez just dropped out. We were in the midst of taping an interview with Mandela Barnes when Rodriguez dropped out Friday. Barnes was the top fundraiser in the latest campaign finance reports, raising more than $840,000. Now, Barnes' initial reaction and part of our conversation. Rodriguez just dropped out, so we want to kind of... I want to get your reaction to that, actually. What'd you say?
Well, that changes things. That changes things, as you said.
It changes everything, actually. What is your reaction to that, just hearing that?
Well, want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for stepping up. It's not easy to put your name on a ballot. It's not easy to get involved in this sort of race. They are grueling and they are unforgiving. So just want to thank her for putting herself out there.
Obviously, we're going to get some new polling numbers this week from Marquette when they release their new poll. Looking at now this road to the primary, what do you see as your path to victory?
Well, the path to victory is to continue doing what we've been doing, building a grassroots movement. And this grassroots movement did not start throughout the course of this campaign. It's been the way that I have organized. It has been the way that I have fought for communities from the very beginning. Before I even thought about running for office, it's about those building blocks in communities all across the state of Wisconsin.
I just want to go back to this breaking news. I mean, it's happening literally like while we're talking here with Rodriguez dropping out. I mean, that obviously narrows this field down to 4 candidates now. What do you think is the biggest challenge between the 4 of the candidates in this field now, and you coming out on top of that?
Well, I don't think the challenge is any different than it was before. As I mentioned before, it wouldn't matter if there were 2 people in the primary. It wouldn't matter if there were 20 people in the primary. We are going to be focused on Tom Tiffany and beating him in the general election. That's what I'm going to continue to be focused on.
I'll just read you a part of the statement that she just posted about 2 minutes ago here. She says that she's deeply, as we have continued to dig into our financial reports, it has become clear that there are issues that would be an ongoing distraction, not just for this campaign, but for the primary and for Wisconsin. This race is too important to Wisconsin to let that happen. I'm deeply hurt and betrayed by what happened. As I said, Monday, part of being a leader is taking swift action, doing the right thing, and being as honest as possible when there is a problem. You believe that you're the candidate to win the Democratic nomination?
Well, let me just say that I first respect that decision that the lieutenant governor made. It's not an easy decision. And I have worked since day one of this campaign to prove that I am the candidate to take on and defeat Tom Tiffany. We have the infrastructure, we have the resources, we have the vision, and we have the message to get it done. I've taken this campaign all across the state, and I will continue to do so throughout the course of this primary. And my focus will continue to be on the November election. The stakes are too high. Our schools are in trouble. Communities continue to see more difficulties when it comes to putting food on the table or even being able to get into that first home. And that's what we're fighting to change. I believe that Wisconsin is worth fighting for, and it is a tough fight. I've never shied away from the tough fights. In fact, I picked a few of my own, and we're going to continue taking on those tough fights until we see victory.
Meantime, this weekend, multiple senior Democratic strategists who pushed Crowley to re-enter the race telling Upfront internal polling shows Mandela Barnes down in every market, and the campaign, as they said, is in a tailspin. The source is also privately saying Francesca Hong cannot win a general election, and that is why another candidate was needed. We talked with both Hong and Kelda Royce Friday, just as these developments were breaking and before Crowley officially got back in. I'm curious your reaction to these initial reports coming in.
We have been a campaign committed to accountability, transparency, because that's what makes democracy stronger. We want to make sure that this is an election where the voters decide, and we will continue to work to meet voters in every single corner of the state.
Is this a moment where the Democratic establishment is perhaps afraid you're going to win?
I think that we should, as elected officials and as Democrats, be responding to where people are at. And working class folks are struggling, and they're tired of the status quo and the systems in place that make it harder for folks to be able to live a good life and to do better than just get by.
Would it hurt your campaign if the governor endorsed David Crowley?
You know, the governor is, he's more... he can feel free to endorse if he chooses to get endorsed. And I've trusted the governor to make the decisions that are for the good of all Wisconsinites. And I think all Wisconsinites deserve to have a voice in this race.
Several Democratic strategists said that they have concluded privately that you cannot win in a general election and the party needs to find someone else.
You know, we have been winning since we have been in the lead in internal polls and external polls. We have grown the broadest coalition of support from a diverse range of voters, independents, moderates, Republicans. We have shown in the fundraising numbers that we are not only in a viable position to continue to put resources into our campaign, but that, voters tens of thousands of voters are already, they're donors, they're out on doors. We've knocked tens of thousands of doors. And so I think that folks are telling us they're eager for something new. And our path to victory in August and in November are ones that we're going to continue to win for working class people.
Given the state of the race, whatever it may be at this moment, how confident are you win the primary on August 11th?
The numbers are showing, the enthusiasm is there, and we are confident that we will win in August and in November.
The question I know you get, and obviously is being discussed privately, is can a Democratic Socialist, can you win statewide in a purple state of Wisconsin? You tell the skeptics who are some Democrats what?
That we already have a broad coalition of supporters and that statewide people are with us on fully funding our public schools, a moratorium on data centers, and increasing wages and making sure that we have free childcare, that voters are engaged and they're fighting to now hold their elected officials accountable because they want a governor that is going to deliver. And we are the campaign that is not only going to deliver for voters now as we continue to grow our campaign, but we will after we win in August and in November.
Would you welcome David Crowley back in this race?
I think that the county executive ran a strong race, and should he come back into the race, that it gives voters another option perhaps. However, I think the voters right now, many of them are with us, and we will continue to grow our momentum to win in August and in November.
Let's just start. Was this the right decision for the lieutenant governor to drop out of the race?
Well, she made the right decision for her, and I have a lot of empathy and appreciation for her decision. Now it's important for Democrats to be able to unite behind the candidate who can actually win this primary and beat Tom Tiffany and hopefully deliver a blue Democratic legislature for Wisconsin.
As you talk about uniting, we're in the midst of these other developments unfolding. David Crowley reconsidering now, re-entering the race with a possible endorsement from Governor Evers. I'm curious your response to those developments unfolding.
What I can say is that I've had a huge outpouring of support over the last couple of weeks. Crowley supporters backing me, now Rodriguez supporters backing me. I have more endorsements in Milwaukee County than the rest of the field combined. And I know that what I hear from Democratic primary voters is people want to move forward. They want to see narrowing of this field and not getting distracted because we have an important task in November, and that is beating Tom Tiffany. But I can tell you that Democratic activists, donors, leaders, in fact, folks who support me and folks who don't, do not want to see this field getting more crowded and more complicated for voters. People have already been voting for 3 weeks. We only have about 3.5 weeks left to go before the election. And voters deserve more certainty. And, I have never wavered. I have been in this race from the very beginning. And I think it is not fair to voters to be constantly doing whiplash like this, especially given that people can't change their votes at the moment.
Do you welcome David Crowley back in the race?
I have a lot of respect and affection for David, but I would hope that he makes the right choice for the party, which is that we should be moving forward. He has a very important job as Milwaukee County executive, and he, I think, is going to have a very bright continued future in Wisconsin, as he already has. But I think that what I am hearing from people is that they want to see consolidation of support behind a candidate who can actually win this primary and beat Tom Tiffany, because we do not want to end up losing in November.
And in Evers' endorsement to David Crowley, does that hurt your campaign?
My campaign does not rely on the endorsements of big people. I do have the most endorsements in the race by far of any candidate in this race, but what's powering my campaign are the thousands of voters that I have talked to and their networks that they are activating because they're so excited about what a Roy's governorship could mean for our state. Higher wages, lower costs, better public schools, and protecting our rights and freedoms from the Trump administration.
Joel Brennan holding a news conference in Milwaukee Friday afternoon, also vowing to stay in the race. Brennan had nearly $360,000 cash on hand at the end of the filing period in June.
I'll tell you, when David left the race, I reached out to him and said I appreciated who he was and what he has been. I know how all-consuming it is. I have my own family here with me, and they're involved and engaged in every aspect of the campaign. So I know how challenging that is, and I thanked him for being part of that, and I said then that the race was better for him having been part of it. He made that decision based on the information that was available to him. My guess is he did some polling and looked at things. I have never wavered on the fact that I I'm going to be in this race and I am going to push through this race to the end. I think that's what Wisconsin deserves. The last thing that we need in this campaign are for there to be October surprises. We just lived through a July surprise in the last few days. And I don't think that as Wisconsinites that we can afford that. I don't think as Democrats that we can afford to put people up on the ballot in the fall who may have the liabilities that would have us not talking about the issues that are most important to people, not talking about health care, not talking about housing, not talking about child care and how we do better by public education in Wisconsin. People need to know what they're getting.
All right, coming up, the new analysis to these breaking developments, plus the Marquette Law School poll set to be released Wednesday.